Hang on. Say that again. One sec. Hang on. Get ready to say that again.
When you tear the circle out of the napkin, you're actually tearing a star out of the napkin. I don't know how.
Hey everybody, Eric Tate here alongside my buddy Nick Licapo, and welcome back to another Penguin Magic Top 10 list generated by you.
Yeah. We're getting all time off these days. I don't have to make these lists anymore.
No,
I like this.
I do too.
Yeah.
No, we get to talk about some cool stuff because you folks at home, we have some great people working our social media like Josh Birch, and he reaches out to everyone who follows us on Facebook and Instagram, and he says, hey, we want to talk about the top 10 this list, and we had hundreds and hundreds of people vote. Then we aggregated those results. Millions?
Millions of people.
Millions of magicians around the world voted on this, and we aggregated it all. And this is the list. List is determined. The order is determined by you. And this week we are doing the top 10 impromptu bar tricks.
I've never been to a bar, so no.
When Nick and I are at a convention and we're going to relax in the evening, these are the tricks that we do. No, these are the tricks that you do.
Yeah.
And a couple of them are ones we do.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar with just about everything on here.
Yeah.
So,
and we're gonna talk about them. But number 10 is Tenbus. This is a really, really awesome solid through solid effect. Essentially what happens is you take two bills. They can be borrowed, they can be your own bills. You fold them in half once, you fold them in half again, you place the one bill through the other, and then you were able to pull it, zip, right through. Mm-hmm. I just discovered this trick like last year, and I was unaware of it, but I really like it.
So it's got a great method, right? It's super. I mean, everything we're talking on here is impromptu. So essentially, you borrow everything for everything we're going to talk about. But yeah, borrowed bills, and that you get a great little visual thing that you can do with it. And I was thinking about, all the tricks on this list.
Yeah.
Borrowed bill tricks. This is really one of the few borrowed bill effects that you can get like a great visual moment out of, and then possibly go into something else. One thing that is not on this list that I love to make at bars are the dollar bill rings.
Yep. So
you could do Tenbus first and then make them a dollar bill ring afterward and give it away. But it's taught by Matt Johnson. It's available on penguinmagic.com, obviously, and it's spelled Tembus. Tenbus. It's kind of a weird thing, but you jump on there and you can find it. It's dead easy to do.
Yeah, by the way, links to every one of the tricks that we're going to be talking about are available in the description below. So if you hear something that you're not familiar with and you want to check it out and learn it yourself, just scroll down and there'll be a link that you can click on to get there.
Yeah, worthy inclusion. Could have been higher.
I agree. I feel like this could have been higher. I mean, there's a lot of really strong stuff on this list, but I'm glad to see it on here because I feel like this flew under some people's radar. Yeah, because
the next trick, which I'll tell you about, number 9 here, the twisting arm illusion. Well, I'll talk about it afterward, but this is one of the all-time best impromptu tricks that you could ever do.
Yeah.
This is where, made famous by David Blaine on his first Street Magic special. I mean, I wish I could do it here right now, but we're sitting in these chairs. You got to get down on the floor, and you invite a spectator to come down on the floor with you. You put your hand on the floor, and then your arm. The spectator does the same thing as you, except your arm continues to go around and around and around and around, and to this, you should break your arm. Right?
It does more than 360, depending on.
Yeah, what is about? It's about It's about what is 360 plus 180? 540.
Yeah,
540.
Your arm does a Tony Hawk.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so that's about what it does. Man, I mean, the first time I saw Blaine do this on TV blew my mind. And then again, it was one of those I can learn how to do. I can do that.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I do this. I do it a couple times a year because I go to group fitness class, and in the wintertime here in Ohio, it's cold. So you show up with sweatshirt. Well, that's part of the method. You do kind of have to have a little bit of an arm covering with it. But I'll use it since it's a gym class. We're stretching and things. I'm like, hey, let me show you this cool stretch that I know how to do. And then I'll get down on the floor and do it to the whole.
That's
the whole
evil.
Room. Oh, it's
evil.
best. It's the best. It's.
I've done this trick probably 8-9 times in my life. Not a couple times a year like Nick, but 8 or 9 times, and it does get big reaction.
Oh,
And it's one of those
terrifying.
Where, like, when you know the method, you're like, everyone's going to see through this, but they absolutely don't. It just sort of comes out of nowhere.
Especially if there's an added little like twist you can do, like I mean,
The crunch.
The crunch, is a fake noise that you can make. So this is available. You can get it on Penguin in different spots.
I know Marietta has a DVD, the Shinko's arm twisting illusion, but also it's on.
Shimshi teaches it on his Penguin Live lecture.
Yeah.
So those are probably the two best places to learn it. But okay, so why I don't think it should be on this list. Not because you can't do it in a bar. I don't want to put my hand on the floor, and I don't want to ask somebody else to put their hand on the floor at the bar. And
You can do it leaning over a table, but it's not quite as effective as like if everybody is sort of like down, hunched around you.
you kind of need your weight into it a little bit. You need to be able to put your back into it. At least I do.
Now, what I would replace this with is I don't remember it, but the one where your arms are like this.
Yeah, you could do it that way.
Yeah, so that is.
It's called I Can Do What You Can't Do.
Yeah.
And it's from Magic for Dummies. But yeah, David Copperfield opens his show with it.
Yeah.
It's this thumbs up type of thing.
And that I think that's in the same world, but I've done that a lot more at bars than I've done the twisting
sure.
arm
I've done
illusion.
it in bars for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to get like a crowd, because you really need a group of people to do this. You can do it to one person.
I don't know.
But it's
I've done
whatever.
I've done it one-on-one, and
It's better when the one person reacts and like you
Yeah.
can't. Oh, you can't do it too. Like it's like it spreads.
Yeah, it is better, but you can do it one-on-one if
Because
you
then
have
it just
to.
becomes that thing where it's like, hey, look, I can do this. You can't. You're an
Yeah.
idiot. I mean, they probably are an idiot, but Anyway,
Let's it's good, but let's move on to number 8 on this list, which is the salt shaker through table, which is arguably one of my favorite tricks. I did this, man, when I was like first getting into magic when I was young. This is the one that I did all the time. I remember going to like a magic class at the Chocolate Factory in Knoxville, Tennessee, and this guy's like teaching us like cups and balls and sponge ball tricks and card tricks, and it was like we had to do a show at the very end, and everyone could do tricks that they wanted, but they could also bring in one trick to do in like the final class show, and this is the one that I did that just destroyed people.
So, yeah,
It's so good.
it really is.
Yeah. What you do is you put a coin on the table and you say you're going to vanish the coin, and then you put a salt shaker on it, you cover the salt shaker with a napkin, and then you make some mumbo jumbo, and then you lift it up and the coin is still there. You make some mumbo jumbo, you lift it up and the coin is still there. You make some mumbo jumbo, the coin is still there, and in your frustration, you slam your hand down saying, usually this works, and the salt shaker vanishes. It goes straight through, and then you reach under the table and you pull the salt shaker out. It passes straight through the table. It's very convincing.
Killer.
Yeah.
It's like almost like way too strong for. It's considered a beginner's trick.
Yeah.
And it's almost like way too strong for that.
This is one of those tricks that like separates like the amateurs and the pros
Yeah.
in how you present it. Because
Yeah.
if you really learn to sell this trick, you can freak people out.
You can learn it if you don't know it. I mean, like I think if you're in magic, like you're aware of it, right? Like because it's just there in a lot of beginner stuff. So like the only place that I would recommend learning it would be on Rick Lax's Secrets of Magic DVD or download video that you can get.
Great place for it.
Inexpensive. You can get it on Penguin Magic. But you know, this is one of those that the professionals sometimes are like, oh well, I'm not touching that. Everybody knows that. They don't.
No.
I do at the bar when I'm not impromptu, right?
Yeah.
But I do a coins through the bar with a glass, and then at the finale, I cover the glass with a napkin and I send the glass through the bar.
Yeah.
And it destroys every time. I do Robert Moreland's routine from which you can learn on his Penguin Live lecture. I don't know what he calls it, but it is certainly on his Penguin Live lecture. The point is, do this trick.
Yeah.
Now, you might have to, at a bar, they're going to have a salt shaker, but you're going to have to ask for it, because it's for taking tequila shots and stuff. So, so they won't be at the table.
Like, okay, pro tip, you can use a pepper mill.
Yeah, you can use a glass.
Yeah.
You can use a glass.
I'm being facetious, but the basic method, you can use basically anything that you can cover with that napkin.
Yeah, as long as it covers with the napkin. Yeah. So, but honestly, could be higher.
Yeah,
like,
I've wrecked with this.
Yeah,
thing. It's super good.
Arguably, sometimes this is one of those things, and again, only because I use it in another context. But people will be like, "That trick you did." I was in Massachusetts the other day, and I went to a bar, and the bar owner, this is true, she said, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe you came back to my bar." She was excited to see me again. She brought out like a whiskey glass that had broken, so that I apparently signed. Must have been a late night. But I sent it through the table and it must have hit the floor and broke. But like they kept it all those years behind the bar because
does not surprise
that
me.
whiskey glass went through the table.
Yeah.
Salt shaker through table is an amazing trick.
All right, let's move on to number 7. What's up?
Number 7. Okay, so maybe the undisputed king of impromptu magic is Gregory Wilson, and he has a routine.
No argument there.
We're going to talk about Gregory quite a bit,
lot.
I think, on this list, and rightfully so. But fake pocket is his impromptu pickpocketing routine, and the thing that's great about it is that you don't have to pickpocket anybody.
Yeah.
Pickpocketing people at the bar it might be a bad idea, but so this is a way of getting into a presentation about picking somebody's pocket and then demonstrating picking somebody's pocket, like taking their wallet, taking credit cards out of the wallet, loading stuff in the wallet, whatever you want to do. Because this routine doesn't really have like a straight line. There's just a lot of things available. And then doing it, but without having to actually reach in anybody's pocket and steal anything. So it's a great jump off point for anybody that wants to learn pickpocketing stuff, which is an interesting topic to bring up at the bar, right?
I think that there's something about being a magician, and especially like,
I hate this discussion that we're about to have, right?
Yeah, but like even if you're not doing impromptu tricks at the bar, but if you do like just 1 or 2 like simple gambling tricks, it doesn't even need to be like hardcore like dealing from the center, riffle stacking. You just like do like a simple 5 or 10 card poker deal. And people are like, oh, can you cheat? Or like, oh man, like scams and cons.
Better check my wallet.
Yeah, that's like...
Yeah, what am I, a thief?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on now. Call me a thief?
There's something interesting about talking about some of that stuff, and people are fascinated by it.
Yeah. If you can use that, if you do get that line, which does drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But if you can take that line and then twist it to be like, well, I mean, let me show you what it could look like. All of a sudden you're going to have like a way stronger presentation because it was almost their idea.
And I will say, if it's their idea, and then you can like throw a watch steal into something like this, I mean, you can really, really like throw people for a loop.
Yeah. So learning anything from Gregory Wilson is going to make you a better close-up impromptu performer. So you're going to learn all sorts of stuff on there. It's a great product. It belongs on this list. It's probably in the right spot. I would think.
Speaking of Gregory Wilson, we'll move on to number 6 on this list, as determined by you, and that is Recapped by Gregory Wilson. I love this trick. So if you're unfamiliar with Recapped, so first of all, you can learn it on he's got a DVD set called...
so you can learn it on the spot.
It's on the spot. That was
you can definitely learn.
So that's
if you're interested in this stuff at all, just get on the spot.
On the spot. Everything on there is
impromptu
great.
stuff that you can do at the bar.
There's a link for On the Spot in the description below, but essentially what Recapped is you take a ballpoint pen with a cap, so like a Bic pen. First the pen cap disappears, then the pen disappears, then the cap disappears, it reappears in your ear, then the pen disappears again and reappears in your ear, then the pen is gone and it's back.
It's a marathon of sleight of hand and misdirection.
It really is. And the thing is, though, it's not too difficult.
It's easy. It's easy.
It's super easy to do. The routine... If you want to learn the fundamentals of misdirection, I'd say Recapped is the way to go.
It's a great routine.
Yeah,
great routine to learn any of that. Yeah, for sure. And on the spot is like you pick it up on there. I believe it's the bonus trick on there.
Which is funny because it's one of the better tricks on there. I've done this for years. I learned it from Gregory at a lecture. It was one of my first magic lectures when I moved to Toronto. And he was lecturing just like a few blocks from my dorm. And I went, and that was the big takeaway for me.
What's the name of the gimmicked one? Not that it matters.
Pointless. I think you also learn the recap routine on Pointless, and there's a way to sort of like blend the recap routine with Pointless.
Yeah, it's basically, they're kind of the same routine.
Yeah.
Except that there's a couple more impossible moments that happen in Pointless. So if you do get recapped and you like it, Pointless might be the next step for you because it comes with a gimmicked pen that allows the tip of the pen to either be on either end. Okay.
The only sort of the one little piece of advice I'll give you on Recapped is someone who does it a lot is you can use any pen with a removable cap. The sort of cheaper disposable Bic pens are better, but what I like to do is keep on a lookout whenever I go to the gym or the bank or any place that has like custom pens. If I see a really brightly colored pen and cap combination, so, like I used to go to Planet Fitness and they've got bright purple pens with bright yellow lids. That is awesome for it. There's an auto mechanic in town that always is like, they always keep their pens underneath the counter every time I have to take my car in for anything, because they
know.
know I love their red pens
Because he's a
with
thief,
bright-
right? He's a magician. He must be a thief.
bright blue caps, red body pen. It's so visual. I'm always like grabbing that. So
Yeah. Recap's a fantastic routine. A lot of great lessons in learning that trick. Moving on, number 5. I guess it can't all be number 1, right?
No,
But-
I mean, let's be honest. Like, this is a top 10 list, but it's really like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, because a lot of these are heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason so many people voted on this particular poll that we put out, and why everything was super close.
Ashes on the palm is number 5.
Killer trick.
Which is just one of the craziest tricks that you can do. What happens is you, I mean, these days, ashes on the palm is a little harder to do. We'll talk more about it in a second, but from an ashtray, you would say, hey, Eric, hold out your hands and make some fists, and then I would take some ash from an ashtray. I'd be like, watch, I'm going to put the ash on my hand, and if I rub it, look, it's going to start to disappear. You can go a lot deeper with this, and then ultimately, I say, look at your hand. You open your hand, and now there's a pile of ash in your hand. It can be played as some voodoo stuff. Playing this is like, you can play, there's certain tricks that you can play like for keeps, like for real. This is one of them, especially if you're into that stuff. You could use some matches here to like kind of, it's really good.
You can do some stuff where you're like putting letters or like symbols on, depending on like, I've seen some people get really good with this, where they're like drawing like X's and crosses and stuff with the ash. So a lot of people are familiar with the gimmicked version of this with a Sharpie, which is called double cross, which is inspired by ashes on the palm. But if you don't have your double cross gimmick with you and you still want to like hit like a freight train, ashes on the palm is great. You can learn it on Tom Mullica's Impromptu Volume 1.
Right, and I was thinking about this as well. Which is probably another great DVD. I've not seen that DVD, but I mean, it's Tom Mullica and it's Impromptu. It's got to be amazing. But also on the spot, Gregory teaches a version of Ashes on the Palm with lipstick.
Yes,
where you borrow the lipstick from the girl, which is, probably an easier thing to borrow these days than, because, places don't smoke as much anymore. So, but if you were outside and people were smoking and there was something that you could get your hands on, some ash, you could do Ashes on the Palm.
There was a great Chicago bar magician that I don't... is it Al Leach?
Well... You're thinking of
the sugar cube trick.
Yeah, you're thinking of the sugar cube trick,
which is in the same vein, but essentially you would.
That's Heba Haba Al.
Heba Haba Al, not Al Leach. Heba Haba Al.
I was trying to think. Yeah, you tell them what the sugar. Cube
so with the sugar cube trick, you're basically using a sugar cube to stamp a person's hand over and over and over again. And at the time when sugar cubes were more common, and you could get a sugar cube in a bar, you could end up with like X's on the. You could use the sugar cube basically to get X's on the palms of their hands and the backs of their hands, and the X's would just appear everywhere.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's a little bit of a diversion from what we're talking about with Ashes on the Palm, but essentially,
it's kind of the same.
You're using impromptu objects that are in your environment to basically mark your spectators like they're like an extra in an episode of Doctor Who with the silence.
Stuff appearing on people's person is like, we've learned apparently one of the strongest stuff that you can do. You get screaming reactions, and you'll get that with Ashes on the Palm. The sugar cube thing, I know somebody taught it in depth on Penguin Live. I don't know if it was Bob Sheets, but it might have been Bob Sheets.
Yeah.
So
he's definitely one of those guys who's of that generation.
I want to feel Bob's not from Chicago. It was a Chicago guy that taught it, I'm pretty sure. And I can't quite remember who that was. But anyway.
Let's move on, though, to number 4. This is Fizz Master.
Fizz Master. Fizz Master is a fun trick. This is one that I would have... so there's some complications with this one. Should be way higher, up, down the list, like number 10, 9, 8, or not on the list at all.
It's a little messy.
Yeah, so you got 2 soda cans or 2 beer cans or carbonated cans, right? And you shake one of them up. And the idea is that you magically transfer the fizz, or the stuff that would erupt when you open it, from this one to that one. So you do the magic, and then you open the can that was just shook, and it doesn't explode, and then you open the can that wasn't shook and it does explode.
There's something interesting about the transference of kinetic energy from
Great
one
plot.
place to another.
Yeah, great plot.
But I'm not sure that I would want to go to a bar and do Fizz Master at a bar that I would like to be invited back to.
That's one thing, yeah. And
Yeah.
two, bartender, you're not actually allowed to hand somebody an unopened can.
Yes.
Now, there's plenty of bars that will.
Yeah,
There's plenty of bars that will.
And even if you were like, well, I'm not going to do it with a beer can in your bar, I'm going to do it with a soda can. Most places have the gun, which it makes, as we know, the soda tastes better out of the fountain.
They're going to have a gun. There's not going to be soda cans laying around, most likely. But as far as the beer can, you can do it. It's a great trick for kids.
Yeah.
This is like a great stand-up trick for kids. Also, when you know the secret, I had mentioned it before, is like a Russian roulette routine, because like shaking up the cans as like the bag with the spike in it is a fun presentation. Using the same method, you can get rid of the.
You know where Fizz Master really belongs is on the 4th of July barbecue impromptu top 10 list. Then it cracks the top of that.
Absolutely, yeah. Outdoors, all that, yeah. And so if you want to learn it though, the method's great. The method's really good. Yeah. This is also taught on Rick Lax's Secrets to Magic thing.
Gotcha.
So if you want to learn it there, it's an old Paul Harris thing. So.
Well, I mean, obviously that's why it's good. Now we're moving into the top 3 here, but let's we did this last time we did one of these. What are some tricks that should be on here that aren't? I mean, I know for me, the one that jumps out is the stop smoking.
Yeah, you like the stop smoking's crazy.
Yeah.
And this one, the reason why it's not on here is because it went under the radar.
Yeah, because no one knows.
Nobody knows it exists. Yeah. This is a download that we did with Mark Elston, where if you're at the bar and you borrow a cigarette. Now you don't have to. This isn't anything. You don't have to smoke it indoors. Somebody just has to have a cigarette. And he has this whole presentation where he dissects the cigarette, essentially. You take it apart, but there's a whole presentation around it. But this is cigarette on ceiling, impromptu. You need nothing.
It's a great idea.
You take the cigarette, once you've got it prepared, and you throw it, and it sticks vertically to the ceiling. Not like this way. Yeah. It sticks this way.
Yeah, the small end.
The small end to the ceiling, and it's not coming down. So it's like a cool way to do like a card unsealing effect, but I mean, it's not a magic trick.
No,
I mean,
it's a
it
stunt.
kind of is. It's a stunt, but
it's a stunt. But if you're at a bar, I mean, like sometimes you just want to do a stunt.
Yeah, and it's big. It plays like everybody's like looking out, like what's going on over there? So that's a cool trick. That's a cool trick.
Yeah.
I mean, I love just doing sponge napkins.
Yeah.
Sponge napkins and like
anytime you can do that sort of like the sponge ball moves with impromptu objects, like it kills people.
Yeah, and like sponge balls over the head, which not sponge napkins over the head. Those are great tricks.
Now this isn't quite impromptu. I mean, it is impromptu. You can do it impromptu, but you do need to have some stuff ready to go. But Connection by Ramanos.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a basically impromptu trick that I could do in a bar. There's a small setup to it, but you could do that setup on the fly. I think.
Yeah. Like so there's. We never thought of phone tricks before as being impromptu, but they are now because literally everyone has a phone. Yeah. Right. So that's a great, like wizard phone trick style thing that you could always be ready to do. So like, apps and things are a little tough, but you could. There's a lot of calculator tricks that you can do on other people's phones. Like, also there's some great stuff like ID7. It's a great download from Rick Lax and Diamond Jim, where you're enrolling invisible dice on the table. Any of those bar bets and stunts?
So this is something that actually I teach on the Razor Wallet download, but I have an ID transposition effect. Now, it's the handling that I have is for the Razor Wallet, but if you've got a Razor Wallet in your pocket, that's impromptu. But even if you don't, like a reasonably decent magician could, turn the transposition that I'm using and work it for most wallets.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of good things, and they're more time tested, than I would. Again, twisting arm, I probably wouldn't have on here because of this. But who's touching the floor?
But then there's other classics that it depends on the bar you're in. Like maybe you have to be in a real hole in the wall or like an older place. But like the burnt restored match is really solid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're talking some devices. Well, not burnt restored match. I was thinking napkin.
No, burnt restored match. Not the napkin. Not burnt
yeah.
restored napkin. I mean, the one where so you have a book of matches and you take a match out, you burn it, and then it vanishes and it reappears restored inside the matchbook, or the one where you take the one match out and you set the entire matchbook on fire, and then you vanish the one match you took out, and it appears back inside the matchbook, reattached to the matchbook. There's a couple of variations on that are very impromptu.
There's a lot of great impromptu stuff. All of the best stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, this could just be the top 10 list of basically the tricks that come on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that we've talked about is on there.
Yeah.
So
let's move on to number 3. This is the Hancock effect by our buddy Kyle Purnell. This is a really cool impromptu dollar bill routine. So you borrow $1 and then you have a Sharpie or another pen, and you draw a little box on one side of the dollar bill, and you draw a little arrow on the other side. You fold it up, and you have them sign their initials on the bill underneath the arrow, and then you unfold the bill, and you visibly take the ink off with your hands, and you place it on the other. You move the ink so that now their signature is inside the box. We met up with Kyle at a magic convention, and he was showing this to people, and it was like the talk of the convention.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a really, really wild effect. It works with $1 bills. He does, if you live internationally and you don't have U.S. currency, he teaches an impromptu version with just like a receipt paper that you could do with, he teaches you how to make it so that it's set up for a receipt paper that you could do if you don't have a $1 bill. Also, he teaches a really cool impromptu pencil through bill that he then again teaches on his Penguin Live lecture, but it's a bonus on the Hancock effect. It's a really, really cool thing. It's just one of those things that Kyle likes to take interesting concepts and make them workable, and this definitely lives in that world.
Yeah, but borrow that bill.
Yeah.
And you have to find a pen, right? And you get a moving ink effect.
I don't know any impromptu moving ink effects other than this one.
This is a very modern impromptu thing that you can do. So when it comes to you could do Tenbus, bill through bill, and then follow it up with the Hancock effect. Be strong. I mean, you're doing nothing, borrowed objects. The pen you got to find, but it's great.
I'll take number 2 as well. Is
sure,
Starkel. Dan Harlan Starkel.
Starkel, yeah.
I've probably done this.
How is this not one?
So what Starkel is you take a napkin and you tell a really nice story about how you looked up at the stars when you were a kid, and you looked up at space and you saw the moon, and you always wanted to do magic involving various things, and with one tear you tear a circle out of the center of the napkin. It's a perfect circle, and Dan's got a thing where you see the man in the moon. And then you hand the thing that you tore out of the center to the person, and you tell them that you really wanted to wish upon stars. The whole script is very charming and very beautiful, and Dan Harlan teaches it wonderfully. But then that circle that you tore out of the middle, when they unfold it, it's now a star. It's really cool. It's completely impromptu. Once you learn it, you'll have it in your brain forever. I do this in airport bars all the time.
It's crazy that it's
a napkin.
Yeah, you just have to learn how to tear the napkin.
Yeah.
And that's it. And the method is just crazy. I love saying it out loud. It's just, when you tear the circle out of the napkin, you actually tear a star out of the napkin.
Hang on. Say that again. One sec. Hang on. Get ready to say that again.
When you tear the circle out of the napkin, you're actually tearing a star out of the napkin. I don't know how Dan comes up with this stuff, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So you're going to learn a crazy tear, and you're going to get a great script to go along with it. This, because I remember when I saw him do this forever, it looks like he's doing some sort of switch or sleight of hand.
No.
You just borrow that napkin, you got that tear in your head, and you've got one of the best pieces of impromptu magic at your fingertips.
And here's the thing, is that there are, while this is a great impromptu trick to do in a bar, there are professionals that close their show with this.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that strong.
Yeah, it's that strong that you should know how to do it just in case you need to do in like an encore piece or something like that. Grab this napkin. You can go out there and, you should be prepared for your encore. But if you don't, you can do a Starkel.
That brings us to number 1. Nick, what is number 1?
How did this happen?
I don't know.
I didn't vote on it. I didn't make this list.
I think you voted and made the list. I think it's rigged.
This is the Pinky Thing by me. Strangely enough.
This is a cool trick. I like this.
So, maybe we should just put like body magic on, maybe at the top. I mean, honestly, you get into this stuff. And, where does this belong on the list, right? This fools people sometimes.
Yeah.
It really does. Because I usually use it as an opening. But so Pinky Thing. Take your pinky finger off and make it magically reappear or put it back on.
I was at a family gathering about a week ago, and there was a kid there who was like looking at me, and I did Pinky Thing. And I'm not as good at Pinky Thing as you are, but I'm good enough to fool an 8-year-old.
Right.
And I freaked this 8-year-old out. I mean, because the kid is like sitting across the patio, and I was just like, I took my pinky off and put it back on, and he was like, and he like starts tugging on his mom's sleeve.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real good.
Yeah, just to be able to do anything with your bare hands, it's pretty sweet. I mean, I could do this underwater. I could do it on the moon, right? I think.
That's a top 10 that we need to see. It's top 10 impromptu tricks to do on the moon.
On the moon or underwater. That might be pretty good too. So on the instructional video, you don't need anything. You need a pinky finger. So not for everybody.
No.
But that's it. All the work is originally from Mayor Yedid in his amazing Finger Fantasies routine, which if you've ever seen that, go on YouTube, search for Mayor on, he did it on all the late night talk shows.
Yeah.
He stood on stage with nothing but one hand and just one at a time made each finger disappear. And then he had all sorts of jokes and fun things along the way. But he toured the world just doing that, just doing finger tricks, which should tell you something, because they are that good. They get sold short when you start thinking about them, like the thumb stretch and all that stuff. But they're amazing when you do them well to people. So you can find the Pinky Thing download on Penguin Magic, and I'll go over it in detail. I go in absurd amount of detail on this download. So you can learn it. Everybody can do it. And another nice little touch to it is from Nicholas Lawrence, his on-off routine.
Oh, that's right.
It's a great thing to combo. That's one thing I'm working on right now. Is comboing the two. So on-off is another great thing. I don't think that's available on Penguin. I think you might have to go directly to Nicholas, and don't quote me on this. It might be free on his website, to be honest. But if it's not, buy it, because it is very good from Nicholas Lawrence. But they go hand in hand. You can do both. It's crazy. I mean, on-off looks like you actually visibly take the pinky off and put it back on. So,
It's a great trick, and I understand. A lot of people have done this on social media, but and I think that's one of the reasons it made it so high up on the list, is because a lot of people see it.
Yeah, it got. Yeah, when TikTok was started, it was the first big magic viral TikTok. I think it was Magic Sing that put his stamp on that one. So it's fun to see people doing it, because I love always. It's like once every couple of weeks, I'll see a video that's got a lot of views of somebody doing the Pinky Thing. Well, somebody ultimately tags me in it. So.
Well, that's the list. Top 10 impromptu magic tricks at a bar as determined by you, the Penguin customers.
Yep.
Keep an eye out on our Facebook and Instagram pages. We run these polls all the time, and after we get them, we collect all the results, and then Nick and I take a look at them and come here to talk to them about you. If there's anything on this list that we missed, well, it's because you missed it. But let us.
They didn't miss anything as far as I'm concerned. They got it right.
No, this one's pretty on point. But let us know in the comments below if you agree, disagree, if there's things that you think should have made the list, or even things that you think shouldn't have been on the list. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you get more notifications when Nick and I are talking about other great magic.
Talking tricks.
On behalf of everyone here at Penguin Magic, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Top 10 tricks on the moon.